It's been 1 year since I signed all the paperwork for this house. I have learned quite a few things along the way. All the things I have learned since buying a house a year ago. Whew. The day I got the keys, I learned that who you buy from really matters. When we got the keys to this place, it was left in really good condition. And I feel like the process of buying a house was significantly improved and the stress levels were reduced from just buying from nice people. The sellers left this place in really great condition, and they also left behind a lot of things that they thought could be useful for us and they did not want anymore. Just little things, like the sellers even left behind their spare light bulbs. They'd labeled up which room they were for. Honestly, they were the best sellers ever, and it really made a positive move-in experience. It really impacted our stress levels on moving in. I think that was one thing that I wasn't expecting. I never, factored the sellers into the equation of my experience of buying a house, but it really did make a difference. The most inconvenient thing about moving into a new unfurnished home is the lack of furniture. The timing of getting a sofa and a bed was really tricky for us. We had a few weeks in the very beginning where we had no sofa and we were sitting on the floor on camp chairs and it really sucked. Try your hardest to get your sofa and bed delivery on the same week as getting your keys, because sofas and beds can sometimes take a while to get made. Not having sofa, not having bed, it was stressful in the beginning, and I know we were super lucky that the house came with carpets and flooring and stuff, but I do know someone else who bought a house without flooring and then getting someone in to sort the flooring. The timing for all these things is really tricky, and especially if you have a quick move-in, move-out date of changing over between properties. Yeah, these little things always snag, and the timing of ordering your furniture, your big items like your sofa and your bed, are everything. I think on a personal level, the saddest thing about buying a house is, for me, not everyone was happy for me. I didn't do a big post, I didn't really post on the internet that I bought a house anywhere. Yeah, it was difficult news to share with certain people, and not everyone was as happy for me as I would have hoped, which is fine. I mean, I know everyone's living their own life, but yeah, there was some people who just weren't really that happy for me. So I kind of let that weigh on myself a little bit, and I was really not expecting that. I haven't had too many large life events that kind of came out the blue, and unfortunately not everyone was overly happy for me. That did come as, probably naively, a bit of a surprise. The most unpleasant part about the whole home buying process was pressure sales of life insurance. It was horrendous. I understand that life insurance is super important. If you have a mortgage, if you have lots of responsibilities, life insurance is just sensible. But we had incredible pressure sales for life insurance, and it was so unnecessary and I feel like exploitative. I feel like the person knew that we were in a stressful situation of buying our first home, and it was really exploited. And we used a mortgage broker. We used a mortgage broker for our multitude of reasons, and I don't regret using a mortgage broker. But we were sat opposite our mortgage broker going through all of the details of our finances and the weight of not knowing if you could get a mortgage or not was carried for about 30 minutes. They were charming, they offered us cups of tea. We really built up a rapport on a personal level because it was such personal information we were sharing. We were planning the rest of our life in front of this professional, and it was going incredibly well. He took us on such a smooth ride, and the climax of that was, yes, you've got a mortgage. It was approved, and he was right there holding our hand all the way through, and it was such a victory for all of us. And then within 1 minute, he swung this blow of, you need life insurance because everything that we've just planned is going to fall apart and one of you is going to die. And it was just so unpleasant. The pressure sales for life insurance at that point were crushing, and it was already such a stressful, emotionally charged situation. I really do feel like it was inappropriate at that time. I don't know. I know the guy had financial interests in selling us this package of life insurance. I get it. I was quite shocked at how some people were trying to financially exploit our stressful home buying situation. And I understand these things are services, but yeah, I was shocked at the pressure sales of life insurance just after the victory of getting a mortgage. It was really unpleasant. I don't regret using a mortgage broker, but I do regret not walking out as soon as the pressure sales began. Also, I don't know, I couldn't really have walked out. He had us in such a vulnerable position. We couldn't have really walked out, but the whole thing was horrible, and I was not expecting pressure life insurance sales, which are really bad when they come up as like an advert for life insurance and planning funerals and stuff. But when you are trapped in a room with someone who has just given you the ability to buy your home and then they crush it by telling you that you're going to die and you need to buy life insurance from them right now, yeah, that was the most unpleasant part about the whole house buying process. So for years, I had been planning and putting money away for the deposit. Everyone talks about the deposit, save for a deposit and buy your first home. I don't know why, but I had in my head that the deposit was like the goal, that was it. And once I got there, I was like, yes, I have a deposit now. Buying a home has so many more things that cost money that I did not realize. Chairs are very expensive, and yeah, there's no point in buying a house if you cannot fill it with a bed and a sofa and a fridge. These things are really key. So along with putting a chunk of money for a deposit down, we also had to fork out for solicitor fees, mortgage prepayment, sofas, which are very expensive, beds, a washing machine, and yeah, these things really add up. The money pit as you buy a house is massive. Oh, the sellers also did leave us a big set of ladders, which was wonderful. But there's so many little things that swallow up your money when you buy a house. It's very, very expensive to move into a new place, and just I had a huge long list of things I need to buy. I still have a pretty long list of things that I kind of need. And yeah, buying a house is very expensive, but not just for the deposit, for all the other little things that you could not possibly think of in advance. Nothing ever truly feels complete. There are always plans in the back of my mind to improve, to redecorate, to remodel, to shift furniture around. When I lived in rented accommodation, I would, put a picture collage up or, put things around the place, get a new candle and be like, the room is done, I'm complete. Whereas now being a homeowner, things have really shifted. I have such a long-term goal in mind with the house, the decor, the garden, everything. The list of things feels almost never-ending, not in a bad way necessarily, just really different from renting. When I would rent, everything would be nice and complete. I'd buy a new shower curtain for the bath and be like, oh, sorted, absolutely sorted. I'm, super happy with this bathroom. Now I can be like, ooh, there's a little gap between the skirting board and the wall. I should definitely fix that at some point. And the list of things that I wanna, the list of to-do list, tiny little items keeps getting longer and longer, and I can be really happy with how a room or how an area is, but the to-do list of possibilities never goes away. It's quite exciting. It's quite nice to always be open to inspiration and change and decor and interior design. Honestly, it's really nice, but it is quite different to renting, where I was super content and didn't ever think about these things. It does still feel a little bit like renting, because you still have to pay money every month. You still have to really be on top of bills, and I don't know, I had like this benchmark in my head that it was going to be so freeing and everything would just be really easy, and it's great, but there's no less stress than having to pay your mortgage on time and having to pay your rent on time. I don't know why I kind of separated these things in my head, and honestly they don't feel that different. I'm super happy that now I can pay a mortgage rather than pay a rent for someone else's mortgage. But I don't know, it doesn't feel all that different, and I think I was expecting it to. Maybe that's my own problem, but I think I was expecting it to feel more different than it does. It feels great, but doesn't feel all that different to renting when I'm still paying the bill at the end of the month. The feeling of being really protective over this house is something that I didn't expect. I have never felt so protective over a place I have lived. I did feel it with my first car, and I have feel it with this house. It's like you just are so rooting for it to be safe and not burning down and not falling apart. I don't know, I can't explain it. I just want it to be in really good shape, and I feel like my personal happiness is based on whether or not I know that my house is safe. And I know that's probably quite strange, but I'm very invested in how the house is doing. I've never felt this for any flats that I've lived in or any other places that I've lived in. I mean, I loved living in different places, and when I was renting, I've been like proud of different flats I've lived in, loving to have people around and show them the place. But this real like raw sense of wanting to protect this house is bizarre. It makes me want to do things to the place, it makes me want to decorate, and it is quite fun. It's a feeling I never had towards any other places that I've lived in, but I feel like I have this spark inside me now from buying this house, and it's really fun. Maybe you're looking at buying a house, maybe you have just recently bought a house. Please let me know in the comments. Also, quick plant update. She's flowering. Those are the things I have learnt since buying a house in my 20s. If this video was fun, then give it a like. If you want to see more from me, then subscribe. That's everything for this video, so I will catch you in the next one. Bye!